I am just outside of the south edge of Corvallis, and over there we can see that housing development. And if we zoom in there, that right there is the end of the Willamette Park bike and pedestrian trail, and that's where, you know, the sign said these are private fields in this house. So we're just outside of town, like 1,000 feet south of town, and we're in these fields, and right in front of us is a bridge. This is Kiger Island Road, that's the Kiger Island Bridge, and on the other side of it is Kiger Island. So this body of water here is a side channel of the Willamette, and I looked at it on the map and it was kind of confusing to know what was what, because there's a lot of different side channels that weave through this bottomland. And before the completion of the dams on the Willamette, like we saw in Sweet Home, all of this would probably be underwater every other year. And so this is a kind of a reclaimed area that's being used for agriculture that naturally would be bottomlands. And the next thing is I'm gonna go and see what is underneath this bridge. Well, it's quite overgrown and steep, so I'm gonna put the camera away while I'm walking down it. So this is the Willamette Channel. It's overgrown and it's kind of swampy, but the water is still really clear. And I've only been here once before, and when I was here, the water was probably at a different level. So, you know, this is beginning of September, kind of the lowest water time of the year. So normally I don't know how far up the water would be on these trees and on these pillars. Can't really tell just from looking at the pillars where the water line is. Anyway, so I wanted to stop by here, but now, having seen this, I'm going to continue. So continuing right up this trail. It's easier to hold my camera going up than coming down. Whoa! Okay, kind of easy. So here we have this little side gravel road, and there's no sign that it's a private road, so I'm going to go for it. It might be a little harder to bicycle. Also, it started to be really windy, and as you can see, the sky is kind of hazy. We're having kind of a smog problem with temperature inversion. So the wind makes it harder to bicycle in, but hopefully it'll clear some of this up. So this is what the road looks like, just a gravel road. Goes on for a few miles, and I could just walk around here all day. And I'm on my bicycle, and my bicycle is a hybrid bicycle, meaning that while it's not like gonna do single trail, a gravel road like this is no problem for it. And a pleasant breeze. The only thing I wish for is that the sky would be a little bit more clear today, but you can't always get what you want. I'm just walking down this road with nostalgia in my state of mind. And one of the things that's interesting to me, or beyond interesting, is that, you know, when I'm doing something like this, the thing that makes it real for me is kind of the texture of the experience. There's just little things about being here and the way things feel that fixed this in my mind. And the problem is that even though video and audio give so much information, a lot of the texture of the experience is in the feels and even in the smells. Like the dry ground, late summer, you know, there's a certain type of smell of the earth right now. So all of that, you know, what's like the essence of the experience, I feel it's slipping through my fingers, even though I'm getting this, you know, gorgeous high definition video or whatever. But I guess that's that's the blessing and the curse of it, is that there's a feeling that I just can't capture or express. So right here, this road that was a gravel road, then a paved road, has looped around back to the main road, Kiger Island Road. It's a dead end this way. This is the way back to the bridge. So I'm going to follow this road to the end. As you can see, there's no center line and it's barely wide enough for 2 cars. Not a lot of traffic past this point. I don't actually know how many people live on this island. From what I've seen a few dozen houses maybe. So maybe a few hundred people, but I don't know the exact numbers, but not a lot of people. But a lot of people do visit, and there's a lot of traffic bringing agricultural products out. So, you know, we've seen other places, there is a lot of large commodity agriculture in the Willamette Valley, but in a place like this, close to a city, people come in because they can get fresh blueberries, and they also have the bucolic experience of visiting wild turkeys. I've seen wild turkeys run across the road. So, you know, that's part of the thing here, and that's not just here, but in a lot of places around Corvallis, you have, like, I guess you'd call it recreational agriculture. By the way, if you're a bicyclist and you're in or near the Corvallis area, this is a really relaxing road to ride on because a car is passing me every, I don't know, 3 or 5 minutes, and it's you know, cars are traveling pretty slow. And this is about where I am at the end of this road will be like 8 miles from my house, I think. So like a 16-mile loop and about 4 miles from downtown Corvallis. So a really nice, relaxing ride. Perfect choice for a Friday in September. We're at the end of the county maintenance, and there's a gate here. And if we zoom in, private property, no trespassing. So I'm going to turn around here. In that direction, in about 3 miles, if I could travel straight across the fields and forests and the Willamette River, is Peoria. And so it's kind of interesting that, like, when I bicycle from Corvallis to Peoria, I kind of think of that as a pretty long ride, mostly because some of it's along roads that aren't real nice to bicycle. But really, like, right where I am here, I feel I've just bicycled right outside of the city. So Peoria is really not that far. It's just the roads you take to get there. I'm going to bicycle back along this gravel road, which will turn into a paved road, back to the bridge, and then back to Corvallis. This is a common sight on this island and other places along the Willamette near Corvallis. We have an osprey nest, probably only a couple hundred feet from the Willamette River, so a great place for ospreys. And right now it looks like it's empty. I don't know if it's been abandoned or if they're just out hunting right now, or maybe no, there's nothing there. So that's one of the main birds you're going to see in an area like this. So one thing about this island, even though it has a couple hundred residents, there's really no community center of the island as far as I can tell, you know, a formal or informal one. There's no park, there's no store, school, post office, or even a little church. So it's basically residential. And as I was going through it, I did see 1 or 2 buildings at a time. It looked like it's a house now, but it could have been a store. I didn't want to take pictures because I don't take pictures of private residences. But like really there's, as far as I can tell, and of course I might be very ignorant about this, there's really no place that would be a center for this community. And that's true of a lot of places I've been, is that you have an area that historically might have needed to be, you know, have its own institutions and services, and now it's basically just a residential area. Here, residential and agricultural. So, you know, it's a nice place to visit, but, you know, it's, I don't know how really to rephrase that. It's like I don't really have any feeling here other than if I was going through any other residential area, other than there's the kind of like special little isolation that an island has. And, you know, that's in contradiction to, like, you know, when I was in Chiloé, there's islands of this size, but because they're only reachable by ferry, they have, you know, really rich histories and cultures and communities. And here, that may be present, but I'm not seeing it. And I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with that. It's just, you know, it's like, what is the heart of this community? I don't know. I do know it is windy. So this is the road I left to loop around. And so now I'm just a mile from the bridge and about done with the day's adventure. Now it's time to say goodbye to the island and cross the bridge, go back home. So the last 2 weeks I've just been around the city. I haven't had the energy to get up and go to a different town. So for me, this is just kind of normal stuff. I do want to return to going to new places soon. But of course, if you're watching this from far away, it's all pretty much probably just as interesting. Anyway, so I have a lot more thoughts about it. Like I said, you know, it's kind of hard to encapsulate an experience, even when that experience is just 3 hours, you know, or 2 hours walking around a little island close to home. But I had a good day, and I'm gonna go home because this wind is getting annoying.